Well, the Mets finished off their road trip and a wraparound series in Pittsburgh with an 8-2 loss this afternoon. The game kind of came down to about 3 or 4 hitters right there in the 6th inning. Other than that, it was a tight game. It was 2-2 going to the 6th inning. You knew it was going to be a short leash for Scott, and the bullpen, failed the Mets once again, as it does, and as it's going to do down the road. This team's going to have bad losses with the bullpen. There are still bad losses out there for the Mets this year with the bullpen, and you just hope they come don't come at the wrong time when you really need a win or it's really a devastating loss, because that's what is this team's Achilles heel, and you're not going to be able to fix it no matter how hard you try in the trade deadline. And again today, they put the kid in the Orzi with his major league debut, and listen, he pitched into some bad luck, right? The balls weren't hit very hard, a couple singles, a cue shot in between short and third, and then they brought Hauser in, and Hauser just imploded. He gave up like 5 runs in about 5 or 6 pitches, and that was it for today. And the Mets lose 8-2. But well, first of all, welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Bob Walters. This is Locked Up Sports. We are in the Brian Gunzel Studios here in Sunnyside, Queens, New York. Listen, it was today. You could live with today's loss just because it's a getaway day. You get the split. It comes on the heels of what was the best win of the season, as far as I'm concerned, yesterday. Okay, you got the doors blown off on Friday night. Then you came back with a good win on Saturday, and then yesterday's game was a huge game because it gave you a cushion today, is what it did. And to win that game and the way they won it, and the way that they would have lost it if they have lost it, it would have just been devastating. You would have been fell to 2 games under 500 coming into today. It would have just had a completely different look on this whole road trip and the whole trip down to Pittsburgh, or over to Pittsburgh, I should say. And you had a great pitching core. You had Minaya who struggled in the first inning, right? He had the error, he had the wild pitch. Things got hairy in the first inning for Minaya yesterday, and he was able to work out of it, and he gets them through 6 innings, no runs. But he's matched pitch for pitch by Ortiz on the other side with Pittsburgh. And it was 0-0, and you're going into the 8th inning, and you get a big-time clutch hit from Nimmo, who rings one off the left field wall, scores the run. They get their 1-0 lead. Then you go to the bottom of the inning, and Nunez, he's been probably been the best reliever in the bullpen lately, at least for the Mets. Reed Garrett got through the 7th. Then in the 8th, Nunez comes in, and he has all kinds of trouble. He had a bad outing. And they have to go to Diaz, and Diaz, of course, comes in and gives up the base hit. And now Pittsburgh has the lead. And now you're just feeling like, here we go again. And it would have been one of those losses that I think would have lingered. But, of course, in the 9th inning, the Mets came back, and every at-bat in that 9th inning, especially the Alvarez and Iglesias at-bats, where they both walked. Iglesias was... that was a 10-pitch at-bat that he was fouling everything off. He was fighting, he was battling, and he was able to work out a walk. And that got Lindor to the plate, and Lindor lined a single into left field, and the Mets got 2 runs down to their last out. And then you have Diaz come back with some redemption from the 8th inning, and he has a clean 1-2-3 9th, and the Mets get their best win of the season. I'm telling you, that was a big win. Don't sell that win short yesterday. Now you come back today, you would have liked to get 3 out of 4, head back home with the Nats and the Rockies, 2 teams that are not very good, and hopefully get 4 or 5 of those games, and then you really be in good shape heading into the All-Star break. But you're okay. You can live with today's loss. Like I said, you knew Scott on the short leash. You knew that this bullpen, it could blow up at any time, right? You're really walking on eggshells when this bullpen comes in, when they go to the bullpen. And they brought the kid in. He struggled. And then Hauser came in. He was supposed to clean it up, and it just went from bad to worse when Hauser came in today, because he came in, and it was a double down the line, and then it was a wild pitch, and then it was a base hit, and then it was a home run, all in about 5 or 6 pitches. And it went from 2-2 to 6 or 7-2, and the game was over. So the Mets finish up today. They lose 8-2. like I said, coming off the heels of what was their best win of the season and one of the more important wins. And if the Mets do anything this year, which is still to be seen, right? It's still it's an unknown. They look good. They've had an excellent month of June. They've started off, July okay. They're hanging in there. But as well as good as the Mets have played over these last, say, 30 some odd games, it feels like they should be in better shape than they are, right? It feels like they've been playing good baseball for a long time, but they're still a game under 500. And then you look at the Yankees, who it seems like they've been playing terrible for a long time, and they're still, 18, 19 games over 500. So the Mets now come home. They got 6 games to go before the break, 3 against the Nats, and then 3 with the Rockies, who come both at Citi Field. And they finish off on, on the 14th with a day game. 1:40 is the start there, and that will be the All-Star break. It's not really the mid-season, they call it the Midsummer Classic because it's middle of the summer, not mid-season. Because the teams that play, the teams going into the All-Star game, I guess they'll play about 95 games each, 90 to 95 games, somewhere right around there. And the halfway point is obviously 81 games. So you're well into the second half. And then you come out of the All-Star break and it's just a sprint to the trade deadline. And I think the Mets are going to be buyers. I do. I think they're going to hang around 500, somewhere where, they're 2 games under, 2 games over. They'll be within 3 games of the wild card spots. Right now they are, they're 2.5 behind the wild card. They're 2.5 behind the Diamondback. They're half game behind the Diamondbacks, and then they're 2.5 behind the Padres, who hold the 3rd wild card right now. And the Mets have to make a decision. Do they want to go? And I think they're going to go for it. I do. I think what they're going to get is you're not going to see any major moves. It's not going to be like a Cespedes year where they bring somebody like that in that's going to just a franchise changing player. I think it's going to be, they're going to do what they can to get some help in that bullpen. But I'm telling you, you can't rebuild the bullpen in the middle of the season. You can't rebuild the bullpen at the trade deadline. It's just not something that can be done. Now they're going to get, they'll probably give up some low-level prospects. It probably won't see much movement on the major league team. And you see what you could do with that. And if they could sneak into the playoffs, like I said, the Diamondbacks last year, that's what you look into if you're the team like the Mets and these other teams. But the 3rd wild card, it's serving its purpose. At least it is in the National League. Because you got every team, even the Nationals, who are awful, are 5.5 out of the wild card. So they look at it. They're looking at that and they're saying, well, maybe we don't want to be sellers. And usually those are the teams that you pick dry. The bottom dwellers. You go and you pick out the carcass of the bad teams at the trade deadline. Guys with 1 year left on the contract, or it's a contract year, and you just kind of throw them a couple low-level minor leaguers. But there's not many of those teams now because of the 3rd wild card, and it keeps everybody engaged and it keeps everybody in the race right up to the trade deadline. So it more than does its part this year, at least in the National League. The American League is a little more spread out, but it's still, there's more teams in it than there would be in it. Now, that's the story with the Mets. The Mets, listen, they continue to play okay, right? They've cooled off since the red hot streak that they had, where they're winning 16 out of 20. We knew that was going to happen. They cooled off there a little bit. They played okay. They've hung around 500. You don't want to dip. They can very easily dip 6 games below 500, and then you're looking at completely different story. There is still 2.5 weeks after the All-Star game. So, and we know that the Mets are more than capable of just, the bottom falling out and playing bad. But they're also capable of, going on a streak, because you got, it's not an unreasonable schedule they have. Like I said, they got the three with the Nats, 3 with the Rockies, then the All-Star break. Then you got 4 in Florida, in Miami. Then you got the Yankees again for 2, which is looking like a piece of cake now, right? And then you got the Braves and the Twins coming in, and that'll bring you right up to the July 31st and the All-Star break. So, it can be done, right? I would say for the Mets, you want to see them get, as your best case scenario, maybe 5 games over 500. heading into that last week of July, exiting the Braves series 5 games over 500. That would be a ideal situation. A nightmare situation would be your 5 games under 500 heading into the Braves series, and then we all know how that usually works out. Then you all of a sudden you're 8 games under 500, and then you're gonna see it's gonna be a whole totally different story. What I think will happen is I think they'll probably be right around 500, somewhere in the middle of that. Now the Yankees are in bad shape. Okay, they can't get the offense going. I don't know how long this is gonna go. I thought that with the Rice 3 home run, legendary performance on Saturday, that was going to kind of kickstart the Yankees, and they'd be back a little bit, and then they go right back yesterday, and they go right back into the hole with no offense. They lose 3-0. You got Rafael Devers hitting 2 home runs. Now, the bright spot with last night for the Yankees is got to be Gil, right? Because he got back into form that we've seen over most of the first half of the season. Right, most of the first half, that's what we've seen from Gil. He's been, he pitched very well. He just got no run support. He gave up no runs. He gave up the 1 run. He pitched 6 innings. He was on point. He was really spotting his pitches well. He had the Red Sox guessing and swing and misses, and he was pitching well, but he was matched by the Red Sox. And then the Rafael Devers, who is he's the new Poppy, right? I don't want to say he's the new Poppy like a player like Poppy, but to the Yankees, he's hit now 16 home runs. He's tied with Poppy for most home runs in Yankee Stadium by a visiting player. And I was actually surprised yesterday when I put the game on and it was 2-0 already. I put it on late, and they were losing 2-0. I thought for sure that the Yankees would come back after use that Rice 3 home run game, 7 RBIs, a legendary Yankee performance, and springboard that into beating the Red Sox Sunday night, and then just going on a little bit of a tear and getting righting the ship a little bit. But now I don't know. The Orioles, they got the Orioles next weekend at Yankee Stadium, and that could be a very telling series. If the Yankees don't play well here, these 3 games in Tampa, and then they go and they lose 2 out of 3, or God forbid they get swept by the Orioles, it could be real bad for the Yankees heading into the All-Star break. And you never saw that coming. They can't, Judge continues to hit. Soto, again, he's still hitting. Nobody else is hitting. Rice had his game, and that's it. Now, I think with Rice, he's played well. He's had a couple blips in the field, but he swung the bat well. He hit a home run on the 4th of July. He hit the 3 the other night. I think he's going to be your first baseman. I think that settles that, and you don't have to worry about that. It will help them at the trade deadline. But what do you go after if you're the Yankees? Do you go after a reliever or 2? Because their bullpen has not been good, right? There's not a good bullpen in this town. And the offense, you have a good offensive team. You have a good offensive team. It's just been slumping, and now you're coming up on a month. Like now it's okay. This is longer than a slump because now you've done it an entire month worth of bad baseball. They've lost like 17 out of 22, and they're just not winning that. And they're playing lackluster. There's lack of hustle on multiple games. There is bad low IQ baseball plays. You got the double play the other night, because the game on Friday night was that you figure that was the low, right? They're up 2 runs. They're a strike away from beating the Red Sox. You figure, okay, we'll get back, and then we'll get on our way here, and we'll put this slump in the rearview mirror. It's just a down point in the season, and the Red Sox give up, and the Red Sox come back. They tie the game from down to their last strike. They tie the game. They win it in the 10th, and just throughout that whole game, just dumb plays. You had the double play where the guy didn't get caught in the rundown, so the run couldn't score. The guy from third wasn't hustling home. You have the center fielder not just nonchalantly going after a ground ball, a base hit up the middle, and booting it off his arm. You have the manager, Boone, basically praising him, going, well, that's how he plays. No, that's how he plays, right? He plays lackadaisical. He's so good that's how he plays. That's not going to fly. Because he came in, he walked, he walked, he could care less. He had not a care in the world when he came into field that base hit. And it went off his arm, and then the manager, rather than pulling him out of the game, which is what he should have done, you should immediately get pulled out of the game if something like that happens. That was just that. He didn't care at all. It showed that he didn't care. They were losing. He got booed by the fans. Boone has got to pull him out. You can't go into the presser after the game and take the podium and say, oh, that's just how he plays, because he's so good that he can do that. Well, clearly he's not, because he's booting balls out in center field. And your team's losing, and it looks bad. You are ready. When your offense is bad in baseball, it looks like you're not trying. Like when you're losing game like last night, when you're losing 3-0, when you're not hitting, when you're leaving men on base, it almost looks like, now you could be trying, going 100%. It looks like you're not trying, because you're just swinging in bad pitches and you're popping up and you're making errors in the field. It doesn't look good. And then you have Grisham do something like that in center field, coming off of the shortstop lollipopping at the first base a couple days before. And on neither occasion does Boone put the hammer down and pull the player and bench him. I mean, I don't know how you do that. I get what you want to stand behind your players, but how do you not pull him out? I pull him out of the game immediately, right there. Embarrass him. Because you know what? Because he just embarrassed you. And he just embarrassed the team. They were down. It was the 9th inning anyway. Pull him out of the game. Sit him on the bench. You don't even have to say anything to him. That's enough. But to go into the locker room, to go into the press conference and say that, no, that's how he plays because he's so good and he won Gold Gloves. We get it, he won Gold Gloves. But he's doing that out there tonight. And that looked bad. And, it makes it look like there's no consequences. And, we're at the point in the season, and there's a point in every season that the Yankees have, win, lose, whatever. There's a point in every season where you get the fire Boone, you get the fire Cashman. This team stinks. This team was a paper tiger early. Listen, they're a good team, right? They didn't get to be 25 games over 500 by accident. And I don't know. I think they're going to I figured they'd have this thing cleared up and put in the rearview mirror by now. But it just continues to fester. And the longer it goes, the louder the calls are going to get rid of Boone and get rid of Cashman. And it's an every year thing. But, I mean, what are you going to do? They got to start winning some games. They got to start winning games tomorrow night. They have now, even after they lost 3-0 last night, they had the bus broke down on the way to the airport. Then the plane had mechanical issues. It delayed it 2 or 3 hours. They didn't get into Tampa till 4 a.m. They probably didn't get to their hotel and get to sleep till 6. So you got to imagine they slept most of the day today. Now you got a game tomorrow and you play 3, and Tampa's playing all right. Tampa's playing a little bit better. Boston's kind of nipping at their heels. Boston, I think, is 4 or 5 games back. Let me see. I'll tell you right now what they are. Boston's got that third wild card now because of that win last night. Boy, they've been playing excellent lately. Boston, in their last 10, they're 6-4 in the last 10. The Orioles are 7-3, and the Yankees are 3-7. So now you got the Orioles at 3 games clear of the Yankees, and they're coming in next week before the All-Star break. And that's going to be a telling series. Because you know what? The last time the Yankees played the Orioles, it was telling, and it wasn't good for the Yankees. They got swept. And the Orioles outclassed them, and they played better, and they looked better. And they're younger. And this is going to be the new thing. It's going to be the new rivalry. And now the Red Sox are nipping at their heels. The Yankees 3 behind Baltimore. The Red Sox are 7.5 behind Baltimore. So, you want to... And then the Red Sox now are sitting in that third wild card after last night. As far as the All-Star break goes, we're going to have... I'm going to do a special show. We're going to do the top 10 list of former Met, now good players. And if you listen to the show or watch the show, you know that what the former Met, now good is. I will explain it. I'm going to do my top 10 list. That's going to be our show during the All-Star break. I'm hopefully going to do it with Brett. But the All-Star break, listen, I'm not big on we got snubbed. I know everybody's up in arms over Lindor and Nimmo. Lindor, they probably belong on the team. Okay, I'm not going to say they don't. They've had good first halves. Is it a travesty that they're not on the team? No. And to be honest with you, as a Mets fan, I'm glad they're not on the team because it's a meaningless game. It doesn't get great ratings anymore. It's just they don't wear their uniforms. I liked it better when they wore their team uniforms. And I'm not saying I liked it when it mattered. This one counts with the World Series home field advantage on the line. That I didn't like. But it just doesn't have the special. Maybe it's because I'm not a kid anymore. Maybe it's different when I think about it because I was a kid and it was the All-Star game and it was great. It just doesn't do it for me anymore. And none of the All-Star games do. The NFL did away with that with the Pro Bowl. The NHL and the NBA are really, they're not even games, right? They're just making special moves. The NBA, they're throwing up alley-oops. There's zero defense. You could do away with all the All-Star games. Now, I guess if I had to choose one to keep, baseball would be the one. But I'm not going to be locked into my TV when the All-Star game's on. I'm just not. I will watch I'm not a big home run derby guy either. Alonso's going in. He's playing in the home run derby. That's his specialty. He's won it a couple times. I just can't get into it. I can't get into the skills. Any kind of all-star, anything, I can't get into. I think what they should do is just name the all-stars, right? You still have the all-stars. All right, hey, congratulations, you made the all-star team. Give the guys 3 days off and then come back and start playing. Because you got to still have it because there are incentives in the contract and guys, for making the team and everything. But I wouldn't even play it. I know that's not going to happen because they like traveling this thing around, and whoever the owner is that has it at the time, it's Texas this year. They make a boatload of money because they fill up the stadium. But America really doesn't watch these All-Star games. You'll see the rating; it's not going to be enormous. And if you looked what it was, 20, 30 years ago, it was a huge event. Now maybe I'm wrong, right? Maybe it's just because I grew up and I don't have the magical thing with the kid with being a kid and watching the All-Star game, but it's also because you see these guys everywhere and they even come into town because they play interleague games. So for me, the All-Star game, nothing crazy. We're gonna do the former Met, now good, greatest all-time list, and then that's gonna be it. So. We are also doing Swellcast. Now, Swellcast, you might ask, what's Swellcast? We did a couple of them the last couple of days. They're basically like 5-minute podcasts, and I'm going to post them on social media. You'll see them. It's a 5-minute quick wrap up of what's going on that day, and we're going to try and do them daily. They probably won't be every day, but we'll try to do like 4 or 5 a week. So there's that. Remember, don't forget we got our social media right up here. Right up there. We got the Twitter, the Instagram, and the TikTok. We also have Facebook. Our Facebook group is Locked Up Sports. Locked Up Sports Show is what it is. The Facebook group is Locked Up Sports Show. And, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you review. Leave us a review, would you? We haven't got many reviews lately. We got one last week. We want to hear from you guys about what you like, what you don't like from the show. Brett is I'm going to do a show with Brett later this week, hopefully before the weekend, but probably on Saturday on the weekend. So that's going to do it for us. Mets lose today. Back to Citi Field for 6 games, Nationals and the Rockies heading in. Yankees still can't get it together. They got Rice hitting 3 home runs. That wasn't it. They haven't hit, maybe they haven't hit rock bottom yet. Now, I don't know what rock bottom is, but they better get it together because the Orioles are 3 clear of them and coming in next week. And they are going to be smelling blood when they come into Yankee Stadium. And they could not put it away, but they could put a big gap between them and the Yankees next weekend. We're going into the All-Star break. So we'll see. It's going to be an interesting week of baseball. Enjoy it, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the show. Enjoy your week. I'm Bob Walters from the Brian Gunzel Studios. We'll talk to you next time. See ya.